Thanksgiving came, and my parents told me not to bring my kids because there wasn't enough space. Then I saw my brother's whole family there, laughing at the table. When my parents said, "We love those children more," I quietly made a decision. By the time they noticed, it was far too late. It was a crisp fall day, a few weeks before Thanksgiving, and I was in my kitchen chopping carrots for dinner when my phone buzzed. Mom's name lit up the screen, and for a split second, my heart warmed. Despite all the tension between us over the years, I still crave those family moments. Thanksgiving at their house, the smell of roasted turkey, cinnamon candles flickering, my kids, Emma and Lucas, running around with their grandparents. Those memories, flawed as they were, meant something. So I answered, my voice bright, "Hey, Mom, what's the plan for Thanksgiving?" There was a pause just long enough to make my stomach twist. "Well, honey," she said, her tone too light, like she was tiptoeing around something. "This year, we're doing things a little differently. It's going to be a smaller dinner. Just adults. Something more intimate." I stopped chopping. "No kids at all?" I asked, frowning. Another pause. Then hesitantly, "Well, not exactly." My grip tightened on the knife. "What do you mean?" She sighed like I was the one making this hard. "Allie, we love your kids. We really do. But they're energetic. Honestly, we think it'd be better if you left them with a sitter this year." The words hit like a punch to the gut. My kids, Emma, 7, and Lucas, 4, weren't welcome? I leaned against the counter, my voice tight. "So, just my kids? What about Daniel's? Daniel, my older brother, the golden child who could do no wrong, even when he did." Mom hesitated, and that's when I knew. "Daniel and Sophie are bringing their boys," she admitted, her voice softer now, like she was trying to cushion the blow. "But, they're well-behaved, quieter, more refined. It's easier to have them at the table." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. A wave of heat flushed through my chest, my face, like I'd been slapped. "They're just children," I said, my voice shaking. "Emma's 7, Lucas is 4. Of course they've got energy, but they're sweet, Mom. They love you. We're just trying to have a peaceful evening," she snapped, her tone clipped now, annoyed that I wasn't just rolling over. "It's not personal, Allie." "Not personal?" I clenched my jaw, swallowing the sharp words clawing at my throat. This wasn't just about Thanksgiving. It was the way they'd always treated my kids like an afterthought. They showed up to Daniel's boys' school plays, but never made it to Emma's dance recitals. Christmas gifts for Daniel's kids were always a little bigger, a little shinier. And now they weren't even hiding with it. My kids weren't good enough for their table. "I can't believe this," I whispered, my voice breaking. "You're actually telling me my kids aren't welcome, but Daniel's are?" "Oh, Allie, don't be dramatic," she sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "You and Liam are still invited, of course." I almost laughed at the absurdity. They wanted me there, but not the two people I loved most in the world? "No, Mom," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "If my kids aren't welcome, neither am I." Silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. Then she exhaled sharply. "Suit yourself." And just like that, she hung up. I stood there staring at my phone, my breath uneven. In the next room, I could hear Emma and Lucas giggling, building a pillow fort, oblivious to the fact that their grandparents, the ones they adored, had just cast them aside like they were an inconvenience. My chest ached, but something else was rising too. Anger, resolve. I'd spent my whole life trying to please my parents, chasing their approval like it was some prize I could win if I just tried hard enough. But at what cost if I let them get away with this? If I went to that dinner while my kids sat at home wondering why they weren't good enough, what kind of mom would I be? I wasn't doing this anymore. They'd made their choice. Now it was time for me to make mine. The next morning, my phone pinged with a text from Daniel. "Mom said you were being difficult about Thanksgiving. Why do you always have to make everything so dramatic?" I stared at the screen, my jaw tight. Of course, she'd run to him, painting me as the problem. I typed back, my fingers shaking. "She told you she uninvited my kids but invited yours?" The typing bubbles appeared, then stopped. A minute later, his response. "She just wants a calm dinner, Allie." You know how your kids can be. A lot. A lot. Like they were a burden, like they were the sweetest, most loving kids in the world. Something inside me snapped. Enjoy your perfect Thanksgiving, Daniel. I won't there. I turned off my phone before he could respond. If they didn't want me or my kids at their table, fine. I was done with their world. For years, I'd been the reliable one. When my parents needed groceries picked up, they called me. When their Wi-Fi went out, I was the one driving over to fix it. Family parties, I was the one making calls, running errands, while Daniel swooped in for the glory, doing the bare minimum. But if I wasn't part of their preferred family, they weren't getting my help anymore. By the time Thanksgiving rolled around, I'd ignored 12 calls and 6 texts from my parents. On the morning of the holiday, Daniel texted again. Mom and Dad are really upset you're ignoring them. Are you seriously going to let this go this far? I fired back. It went too far when they told me my kids weren't welcome. He didn't reply. I put my phone on silent and turned to my real family. Emma and Lucas were at the table, covered in flour, helping Liam mix pancake batter. Their laughter filled the house, and for the first time in years, I felt at peace. This was our Thanksgiving. No stress, no eggshells, just us. But my parents weren't done. On Thanksgiving morning, my phone rang. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again and again. Liam raised an eyebrow. Want me to turn it off? I hesitated. If it's an emergency, I should know. I answered, keeping my voice flat. What is it, Mom? Oh, now you pick up, she huffed. I suppose you're sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself while we're having a lovely dinner. I sighed. If you called to gloat, I don't have time. That's not why I called, she said, her tone sharp. Did you cancel the credit card? The room went still. What are you talking about? Your father's credit card, the one we've been using for groceries, gas, essentials. It was declined this morning. A cold realization hit me. That wasn't their card. Years ago, when Dad was recovering from surgery and money was tight, I'd added them as authorized users on my credit card to help out. I meant to remove them when things stabilized, but life got busy and I forgot. They never reminded me. You mean my credit card? I said, my voice shaking. She scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic, Allie. It's just a card. You figured I'd keep paying for your groceries? I was trembling now. After telling me my kids weren't good enough for your table, you still expected me to bankroll you? Don't act like this is some big betrayal, she snapped. We raised you. The least you can do is support us. I inhaled sharply. Are you serious? You're off my card, Mom, and don't expect Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, or anything else. You made your choice when you rejected my kids. Now I'm making mine, she gasped. You'll regret this. Then she hung up. I stood there, gripping the phone, my heart pounding. Liam watched me carefully. Everything okay? I forced a smile, just taking out the trash. We spent the rest of Thanksgiving watching movies, baking cookies, playing board games. It was perfect. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. My parents weren't going to let their golden ATM walk away that easily. 3 days after Thanksgiving, Daniel called. What the hell, Allie? He's yelling. All he saw, he snapped. Mom's in tears, saying you cut them off. What's wrong with you? Did she tell you they've been using my credit card for years without asking? I shot back. Racking up thousands while treating my kids like garbage? He sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. She said you were helping them out. Helping them out? I laughed, cold and bitter. They stole from me, Daniel. But sure, I'm the bad guy. Look, I get you're mad, but cutting them off completely? That's extreme, like excluding my kids from Thanksgiving, I said. They can use my money, but my kids aren't good enough for their table. Got it. He groaned. You're twisting this. No, Daniel. I'm finally seeing it. He tried to negotiate, suggesting I send them a smaller monthly transfer to keep the peace. I laughed. You want me to keep paying them after they said they love your kids more? They said it, Daniel. He had no response. Fine, he said, his voice stiff. Be selfish, but don't expect Mom and Dad to forgive you. I'll survive, I said, and hung up. Weeks passed. Silence from my parents. I thought they'd given up. Then the week before Christmas, a letter arrived. Liam handed it to me, his brow furrowed. It's from your parents. I tore it open and my breath caught. It was a legal document demanding a reimbursement for years of emotional and financial support. They'd itemized everything: food, clothes, school supplies from when I was a kid. The total? $78,542. Liam scanned it, his jaw tight. They're trying to bill you for your own childhood? I laughed, disbelieving. This wasn't about money, it was control. A desperate attempt to pull me back into their grip. The next day I drove to their house, the letter in hand. Mom opened the door, her face hard. Oh, so now you show up. I held up the letter. You thought this would work? She folded her arms. It's what's fair. Fair, I laughed. You want to charge me for being your kid while using my money for years? Dad appeared smug. We sacrificed a lot for you, Allie. Now you're abandoning us. No, Dad, I said, my voice steady. You abandoned me when you said my kids weren't good enough. When you stole from me. When you put a price tag on my worth. Mom's lips thinned. If you don't pay, we'll involve lawyers. I met her gaze. Go ahead. Try explaining to a judge why you're suing your daughter for childhood expenses. See how that goes. They froze, unsure for the first time. I ripped the letter in half, watching their eyes widen. I'm done being your ATM, I said. Merry Christmas. I turned and walked away, feeling lighter than ever. Christmas Eve was perfect. Emma and Lucas dancing around the tree, Liam and I sipping hot cocoa. Then the doorbell rang. Mom and Dad holding a gift, all fake smiles. Merry Christmas, sweetheart, Mom said, holding out the box. For the kids. No thanks, I said, arms crossed. Allie, don't ruin Christmas, she said. You already did, I shot back, when you said my kids weren't good enough. Dad sighed. Let's just be a family again. You don't want a family, I said quietly. You want me to be useful. Their silence confirmed it. Take your gift and go, I said, shutting the door. New Year's Eve, they tried one last time. Mom, Dad, Daniel, and his wife showed up, uninvited. We just want to talk, Mom said, her smile forced. No thanks, I said. Dad's voice hardened. Enough, Allie. Let's fix this before it goes too far. Too far, I repeated. What does that mean? Mom's eyes gleamed. We're worried about the kids. You've cut them off from their real family. That's not fair. My pulse pounded. What are you saying? Daniel stepped forward. Mom and Dad have been talking to a lawyer. About grandparents' rights. I laughed, loud and sharp. You think a judge will side with you? After you stole from me? After you rejected my kids? Mom's face twisted. We've done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong? I held up my phone. I've got every text, every voicemail, every demand for money. If you try this, I'll bury you. Silence. Mom's face fell. You're being unreasonable. No, Mom, I said, smiling. I'm finally being smart. I slammed the door. They never followed through with their threat. They knew they had nothing, and in the weeks that followed, the silence was deafening and freeing. That spring afternoon, watching Emma and Lucas chase bubbles, I knew I'd won. Not just against my parents, but for my kids, for my real family, the kind that loves without conditions, the kind that doesn't make you earn it. So here I am, lemonade in hand, my kids' laughter filling the air. And if my parents ever try again, it doesn't matter. I've got my family, my peace, and my power, and I'm never giving it back.